Hey guys, I want to do a short little video on the case of Jeffrey MacDonald, specific to a few of the details that help to convince me that he is guilty of sin. This is not at all a complete list of all of the reasons why. It is not at all an all-inclusive list of the evidence against him. These are just a few little points that I want to share with you to say, yeah, common sense, I think, dictates that this guy is guilty. So here we go. The night that Jeffrey MacDonald's wife Colette and their daughters Kimberly and Kristen were murdered, and remember too that Colette was pregnant with their son. She was 5.5 to 6 months along. Well, it was actually in the early morning hours of February 17, 1970. Well, it was raining. It was pouring. So Jeffrey MacDonald tells the story that 4 hippies came in the door. Oh, somehow came in the door, by the way, because there were no signs of any break-in. So he's asleep on the couch and he wakes up and there are 3 men standing there ready to pound him. He said one of the guys was really tall and muscular. The other 2 weren't so much, but they were grown men. So he had 3 grown men in his little living room ready to do him harm, right? There was no evidence whatsoever that 4 people came walking in from the rain. There were no footprints, there was no mud, there was no mess at all. You know, if you have 4 people walking through the rain and coming in the house, you're going to have some kind of evidence, right? What did they all do? Wipe their feet perfectly before they entered? I doubt it. So that's one little clue that you have to kind of stop and go, uh-huh. Another clue is that he claims that the 3 men were, beating him up or whatever. He said that the big guy had a club and he was like raising the club above his head and bringing it down right on top of Jeffrey MacDonald. Well, okay, if this guy was so tall and he had a club and he was raising it above his head, how did that work exactly with a 7-foot ceiling? No kidding, it was a 7-foot ceiling. So that story doesn't fit, does it? Also, they supposedly attacked him in the living room because remember, he was supposedly sleeping on the sofa. Wow. Why then weren't there any signs of struggle in the living room? Except just one. The coffee table was turned over. Isn't that interesting? The same thing happened with the case of Darlie Routier, remember? The coffee table was turned on its side. The centerpiece wasn't damaged at all. It was kind of neatly placed, actually. So anyway, remember the date, February 17, 1970, just a few days after Valentine's Day. And remember, there was a Valentine's Day card standing on its edge in the living room, right? That never got knocked over. So spare me the struggle routine. Spare me the getting beat up by 3 guys after he woke up on the couch. Because if there were 4 guys fighting, and remember, Jeffrey MacDonald was a Green Beret. He was a captain in the army. He was no wuss, right? So if you have 3 guys attacking a Green Beret while the hippie chick is standing there with her floppy hat on and chanting while she holds a candle, when she wasn't riding the children's rocking horse, I guess, according to the stories. If you have all that action going on, that Valentine's Day card would have definitely toppled over. Couple more things. The hippies supposedly arrived in a 1964 blue Mustang and a yellow Plymouth. Yet, nobody seems to have noticed a 1964 blue Mustang or a yellow Plymouth. Now, granted, it was in the middle of the night, but surely somebody would have heard the car doors close or would have heard 4 people making their way from the cars to the house, right? And the next door neighbor had a dog that was known to bark when people would arrive and doors would open and close and whatever. And that neighbor's dog never barked. And just one more thing. Remember, Jeffrey MacDonald was a surgeon. He was a physician. He was a doctor, a captain in the army, a Green Beret. Well, he had a box of surgical gloves in the cupboard. Now get this. One of those surgical gloves was actually found on the master bedroom floor with blood on it. There is a lot more evidence where this came from. But I think these little bits of evidence are very interesting, especially that Valentine's Day card.